everyone, this is Jennifer with Murphy's Nest. So today in this tutorial I'm going to show you guys how to make some of the Rae Dunn inspired ornaments. Here's one I have done already, and I think they look adorable. You can decorate them with just so many different colors. This year I'm going to try to do the black and white plaid theme in my room. So you can add this with lots of color of red or pops of green, or even if you wanted to do some blues or anything you want to help this look a little bit nicer. Just these will pop out on your Christmas tree. They're going to look gorgeous. So I'm going to show you guys how to get this look without having to spend so much money. Okay, so these are the supplies you're going to need in order to make this particular project work for you. These are glass ornament bulbs. I got them for $3.27 at Walmart, and I got 10 of them. These ones are glass. Now, you can go to the dollar store, and they do have the plastic ones. I believe they're in a 2-pack. These are a smaller bulb. You can go larger if you wish. So you just need some sort of ornament bulbs. That is the first thing you need. You will need some ribbon. I recommend going with a plaid, whether it be a red and black plaid, a blue and white plaid, black and white, red and white, whatever you pick. I do recommend that. This has wire in it, so make sure that you have the wire. And it's also a little bit wider. It's probably about an inch and a half thick. Yeah, it's an inch and a half. So make sure you have some of that. You are going to want to have your Cricut supplies. If you don't have a Cricut, you don't have to have all the supplies needed, but I do recommend having some sort of an X-Acto knife. This is the Cricut brand. Any X-Acto knife will work. A scraper, if you don't have a scraper, I do recommend getting some sort of like a bank card or something that has like a little bit of a similar consistency and size. You will want to have masking tape or some sort of transfer tape. You will need a lighter of some sort, a pair of scissors. You will need your decals. These are supposed to look like the Rae Dunn font, however, it's not the Rae Dunn font. That's why it's not the actual item themselves. I believe it's called DJB espresso or coffee espresso, something along those lines, and that's the font I use. Mine are for a small bulb, so I actually had them only 1 inch high, and they're under 2 inches wide. So you kind of get a good idea. And lastly, you're going to need some acrylic paint. This is Apple Barrel. You can get this at Walmart. You can get this at varying craft stores. So they have Hobby Lobby sells this, Joann Fabric sells this, I believe Michaels even sells this brand. This size is the 8 fluid ounce bottle, and it was $2.50 at Walmart. You can get a smaller one. It just depends on how much paint you're going to need and how many bulbs you're going to be working with. And I am improvising, and I have these K-cups here. I taped the bottom with some masking tape. You're going to use these to prop up your ornaments. So you're going to set them in here. So what you want to do is make sure you have some sort of little cup that you can hold them in, whether it be a Dixie cup or something along those lines. Once you are done pouring the paint into these cups, make sure they're clean, because you can still reuse this paint and apply it back into the container. So now that we have our supplies, we can get started. So I did do a couple here. I did have a few people mention they had some cracking on the inside of their paint when I have watched some of the forums. And the only thing I can recommend is possibly using a fresh bottle of paint. Maybe the paint you had was, just an old brand, because I've noticed inside bottles like I had from a couple years ago, you can see the paint, the consistency will change. So make sure you have a fresh bottle of paint. The other thing is I did try 2 bulbs, and I washed them out with alcohol, and then I just rinsed them with water. I did do 2 bulbs, and I used Dawn dish soap, and I rinsed those out with water. And then I also just took 2 out of the box and didn't even clean them. And every single one had the same look, so it wasn't the issue of the glass bulbs having any sort of sort of chemical or something in there that the paint wasn't adhering to. So just keep that in mind if you run into that sort of thing. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take my glass bulb that I have over here, and I'm just going to pull the little metal top off. They just have these little prongs on the inside. They bend, little metal. Just be careful with the glass ones. Like this particular one has like a little bit of a sharp edge, so you don't want to get your finger in there and cut yourself. So make sure you kind of keep an eye on that. The plastic ones you won't have an issue with. If you want to know what's the difference between the plastic and the glass, you're going to have an issue with possibly the glass ones breaking on the Christmas tree. I have a dog and I also have a 3-year-old. So if they brush up against the tree or if they're running by or something and they fall off, then you might have a little bit of an issue with that. So you might want to go with the plastic or the shatterproof. So now I'm going to take my apple barrel paint and I'm just going to pour that inside this bulb here. And I like to get a nice amount. And what you're going to do is you're going to allow gravity to move the paint around as you turn the bulb on the inside. Now the reason you're doing this is it's going to coat the inside, because if you were to coat the outside, it wouldn't probably stay as nice, because it would probably like scratch and stuff. And I don't know, you probably could seal it if you did the outside, but it would not come out as pretty and be as protected if you just painted the inside of the bulbs. So keep that in mind. Now this process is probably the longest process. I shake it a little bit, I just move it around. You can see it's kind of coating, it's just falling down the edge and it's coating it. And you can just tilt it and it'll move back and forth. So if you need to, you can add more paint. Now I've done quite a few different ornaments in the past. I've done little reindeer ones, I've done the Santa cans. I've actually filled the inside of these balls with some of that like little styrofoam snow. And since we're from Buffalo, I put some little buffalo decals on there. I've also done the ones they call the floating pictures. That is a little bit more trickier because you have to cut the size of the bulb and you have to print it. So if you don't have a printer, it's not usually the best thing to do. But I mean, you can get that overall look, you know, just by doing your own ornaments. So you can actually do these with the kids. I've actually also done with my family in Kentucky. One year we took crayons and we broke them up and we put them inside the bulb, and then we used like a blow dryer and we tried to melt them inside, and it had a really cool look. Like it had, overall it looked really neat. But the crayons themselves were so hard to melt because you had to hold the ball and you had to hold the blow dryer at the same time, and you had to move it around. It was a little bit trickier than I was planning, and it actually was getting so hot on my fingers I had to wear like an oven mitt. And then at that point I was afraid that, if I had the glass bulbs, they would break. So I don't recommend that project for the kids fully. I mean, you would probably have to assist them. So just keep that in mind if you're looking for some other ornaments to do for the Christmas tree this year. So I'm almost done here. Just got a small edge right here that just didn't cover yet. You can kind of see it's just filling up with the paint. So now that this is pretty much done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this inside here. So that way all the paint is going to drip out into my little cup. And then you just put put that aside and that will dry. Now since I have a couple of them already ready to go, I'm just going to show you the next step. So I'm going to show you first how I like to put on the letters. I like to use my blade, and I like to position them individually, but if you bought these and they had a transfer tape, you won't be able to do this step. So I will show you the other step as well. So if you use your Cricut and you cut your own, I just use my blade and I lift up the letter and I have it hold on to my knife. I love using my knife to apply my vinyl. I even do it with my signs, everything like that. The only issue is if you don't position it, you might get it like off center. So you have to kind of keep in mind that when you're putting them on. So I'm going to take my letter and I'm just going to try to find the center. You want to make sure that you have like the nice side. So if you did have some shadowing on the back, you want to make sure that you use that side on the back side and the letters on the front. So I'm going to just gently put this on here and I'm just going to lay it down, and then I'm going to use my finger to hold it and pull my blade back out. So there's my J. Going to lift up my next one, and I'm just going to take this letter and I'm just going to apply it right next to it, make sure it looks kind of lined up. And if you notice with the Rae Dunn font, everything is not perfect. It's like a handwritten font, so if it's a little off, it's not like it's going to affect the overall look, because it will still look like the Rae Dunn ornaments. So now I have my word joy on there, and that was super easy. I did not have to worry about the curved areas or any of the issues of it peeling up. So I do love to apply it that way. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another bulb over here, and I'm going to show you how to do this with either transfer tape, or if you want to, you can apply your own masking tape. So I like to pull this up here. I like to get a small section. This is from the Dollar General. It is a wider width tape, so like it's nice to have and it's really cheap. So I'm going to take my little piece and I'm just going to lay it down right over top of my word. I'm going to use my scraper, or if you have like some sort of a card or something else that you want to use, you can even possibly use your fingernail. You're just going to gently rub over top of the tape. This will adhere the vinyl to the back side of the tape, so when we go to peel it, it's going to be attached. So now I'm going to take it from my top right corner and pull towards me. You need to do this very gently so that way the letters pull up and you don't rip them. So now you can see this is my back side and there is my front side. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to find the good side of my bulb here, and I'm going to try to position this. Now you can use your cup here and kind of get a good idea to help prop it and hold it. And I'm just going to gently lay this down without actually letting the words fully lay. So it's just gently touching. And I'm going to use my finger here and I'm going to just put a line down the center, like the middle of the word. That means that the top of the word is not applied and the bottom is not, just the center. I'm going to use my fingernail and I'm going to gently lay my my letters individually down, so that way I'm not getting that wrinkled effect. And if you are getting a wrinkled effect, it might be because your letters are too big, so you might have to go back and recut them. So or you might want to go back and get a different set of bulbs. So I'm gently just pushing the bottom section of the letters down. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the top side. Alright, so now that they're all on there might be some wrinkling on the tape itself, but the letters should be pretty straight. They should be pretty flat, as you can kind of see right there. Now, I did break one of these by holding it too tight. So be very gentle. You don't want them to crack in your hand and cut you. So use your scraper here, and you're going to rub very gently onto the outside of your tape. This is trying to make sure that it's going to adhere to the bulb now. Once you feel like you've rubbed it and it's fully attached, you can actually just, again, peel the tape back, top right to the bottom. If your letter, like see mine right here, is starting to lift, I like to take my fingernail and lay it over the fold and gently pull the tape, and then it will start to leave the vinyl under your fingernail. So that will help keep it down. Or you can go back over it with your little scraper. And this could be a little bit of a tedious project, so you just got to be patient. It's not like just slapping, stickers onto, something. It's a little bit more in depth than that. So just keep that in mind. I would say this could be a beginner project as long as you have, a Cricut machine. Otherwise, like I said, you would have to plan this ahead of time and order your words and letters in advance. So now I actually have mine attached. So now I'm going to take this and I'm just going to pinch the top, and I'm going to stick it back in the center of the bulb. Okay. Now I have a little bit of paint on here. You could probably, being glass, you can just scratch it off. Just so you know, if that happens to you, you can clean them off. All right, so now I have my word on there, and now we're going to apply our ribbon. So now I'm going to take this. I like to work with my ribbon on the roll. I'm just going to fold it up, and I'm going to loop it through the center. And be gentle with it. Again, you don't want to hold it too tight, and the tops can pop back off, so be careful. So I'm going to pull about 7, maybe 8 inches through, so that's on this side. And I'm going to tie a knot in it. So see, I'm working still on the roll. And you might want to make sure your hands are clean. Mine are pretty dry right now, but you might not want to get paint on your ribbon, so just keep that in mind. Alright, so now I have it all pulled through and knotted up. Now you're going to start your bow. So I'm going to use the end that's attached to my ribbon, and I'm just going to fold it over and pinch it. And then I'm going to take this one and wrap it around. Now when you go to do this right away, it does not have to be neat, so just kind of keep that in mind. Just pull it through, and if you purchase the one with the wire, then you're going to be able to position this afterwards. If you did not use the one with the wire, then you might have a little bit more time, or a little bit harder time working with it. So I have that, and it looks pretty messy right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of gauge how much I want cut off on this side, and I'm going to cut mine at an angle just to make it look a little bit neater. Make sure you have sharp scissors, because it might not cut very good through the wire if they're not too sharp. Okay, so now I'm going to take my, my ends that I have folded, and I'm going to just gently pull them apart and make them look pretty. And that's why the wire comes in handy. You can fold it, you can pull a little bit more through, just make it look really cute. Make it look even. So now we have that all done, and it looks kind of cute. What we have noticed here is we have on this side the fraying, and we have a little bit of the metal sticking up. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your scissors and just cut the little metal ends down. You can trim just a smidge of the ribbon. And I'm going to use my lighter, and I'm going to just singe the edges. I'm not going to start it on fire. If it does start on fire, blow it out right away. The reason I'm doing this is it's going to heat seal this so it doesn't unravel on you. So be very careful, and you're just going to gently just not even touch. You're not even touching the fabric or the ribbon. So I'm going to show you a little bit closer. Oh, there we go. So if you notice, I'm not even touching it, but I could see the ribbon melting. So that means I know that it's working and it's not going to fray on me. Now you might get a little bit of a jagged edge, which is fine. I wouldn't worry about it. Ribbon is ribbon. Doesn't need to be perfect. And this side, I probably could have cut a little bit more off. And then if you want, you can take some twine or one of those little hooks, and you can just attach it to the little area right where we tied it on, and then you got something to hang it on. So there you go. You have your Rae Dunn inspired ornament. I think they turned out so cute, and I can't wait to put these on the Christmas tree. So I hope you guys all have a happy holiday, and if you like this tutorial and you want to see some more, I am just starting out my blog, and I would really love the support, so share and make sure your friends see it, and you can make something special for your family Christmas tree. Happy holidays!